You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Junnie Moon. Want more from someone? Do not chase. Do this instead. Ladies, oh my gosh. Today I have Junnie Moon on the show. She is the CEO of Midlife Love Out Loud, which is an amazing body of work. She's a global love mentor, an author, a women's empowerment leader. She is certified in shadow work, and she's been doing this day in work for 30 years, helping women claim what is their birthright, which is the freedom to be who we are without apology, which I love. I love, love, love. And we're going to talk today about shadow work, which is really, really, really huge. And I think that one of the things that I see, and I would love for your expertise on this, is that women are sabotaging themselves. Like their shadow self is like leading, and they don't think it is because they've done the work. Can you just talk about how this shows up, how we self-sabotage, and maybe even define, what is shadow work?
Well, there's a lot there. And first of all, thank you for having me. I love talking about this. Yeah, they've done a lot of work and they're not aware that it's there or that they're sabotaging. And so let me start there because I think that will tie into a lot of what this is about, which is
okay, great.
A shadow isn't shadow. It's
right.
Think about a shadow. It's behind you. You don't see it unless you look for it or it's there. And so we'll talk more about what that is in a moment. And so it's not surprising that people could have done a lot of work, have done a lot of therapy and read books and done workshops and have learned a lot about themselves and think, I've done so much, and might be missing some things, that there are some blind spots. And those blind spots can show up in so many different ways, like self-sabotage, saying things we don't mean, acting in ways that we don't feel are aligned with our highest and best. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? And so why is that? Why can't we see these things, and why sometimes do we get in our own way? So let's dive into the Shadowlands.
I love that. How do you define it? They have an idea. So how do you define it?
Yes. So I'm glad you even said that, because the word shadow work is being spoken way more readily now. And even when I talk to somebody and they say, oh, I've done shadow work, typically they haven't done the shadow work from the body of work that I've been trained in. So there are a lot of different modalities. There are a lot of different people doing different things. And just to say where I've come from, I was trained by Cliff Barry, Mary Ellen Wallen, from the original body of shadow work seminars. It's the registered body of work, and there are special processes that they've created with lots of different tools to help people see beyond their conscious mind why they are doing what they're doing. So shadow work. First, what is shadow?
Right.
We could say it's what's behind us, like from the sun. However, when we talk about our personalities and how we're showing up in the world, the shadow is a part of us that we want to hide. There's a part of us that maybe we feel bad about, we feel shame about. And the question is, why did we even discover that? Like, why did we even say there's a part of me that is bad or wrong? And so when we're born, especially for the first 6-7 years, we're sponges to the world. We're getting all these messages on how to fit in, how to be a good little girl, how to be a strong boy. And so many of those teachings and the experiences we have with our family, especially our parents and our teachers and our the friends, we're getting lots of information, a lot of conditioning on how we're supposed to be and how we're not supposed to be. And so if we get a message that you better be like this or else,
right,
it goes in. And then on some unconscious level, we get conditioned and say, well, we better not be like that. Let me throw away my exuberance. Let me throw away my expression or even anger or judgment because I got ridiculed, I got criticized, and that was painful. And then I felt like I lost love. And so we take these parts of our personality and we throw them away. We throw them behind us in shadow and say, okay, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to be an angry person like my dad or my mom. It was scary. It was painful. So let me just be a people pleaser. Let me just go out in the world and just shine my light and be this beautiful, wonderful person. And that's wonderful up to a point. But when it comes out of shadow because we're denying who we are, it's going to come out potentially inauthentic or come out sideways in ways that is, again, not in our most beautiful, authentic self. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. It made me think that when we're so young and we're trying to basically fit in, it's almost like sometimes that ability to fit in or people pleasing can then we like rig it around so that it's like our superpower. We're like, we figure out like, oh, wow, I'm really good at like, solving people's problems. And some people even make those their career, right? So I think what you're saying is really interesting is that sometimes our shadow is like almost right in front of us to like, it's just the darker side or the unhealthy side of those superpowers we adapted to survive. So it's not behind you. It's almost like right in front of you, but you have to look at it.
Yes. And that's the thing is people say, well, how do you know what's in shadow? You're absolutely right. It's everywhere. And the easiest way that I tell people to know what's in shadow is to look around you and see the kind of personalities that drive you nuts, the characteristics of people that drive, really get under your skin. Oh, angry people really get under my skin, or people that are so full of themselves or so bright and shiny, who do they think they are? And so typically when there's something that's itchy in you around something, if there's a reaction, like a big reaction, not just like not so thrilled with that person, but when there's a big reaction, typically there's a part of us that we're denying, that we're going, I better not be like that. So when you see it outside of you, you're like, ick, yuck, oh my God. And then, of course, there's why am I doing what I'm doing when I didn't want to do that? Why am I staying in a relationship way longer than I wanted to and have had a high price to pay? Or why do I keep dating the same guys or the same women? Like, what's that about? That's a clue that there's something going on in our unconscious mind and it's playing out in our reality.
I love this. I was thinking about what you were saying about, because I always ask clients, like, why does this person give you the ick, so to speak, or why are you triggered? And I feel like social media is like a mirror, right? Because you're having these reactions to people, right? And so the other day I was looking at this expert guru coach, whatever, post, whatever, and I was like, dang, this person just says this one day and this the next day, and I'm so triggered. And so I was like, okay, what is going on in me? And it made me, so I'm just going to share my own flaw, right? Like, and I was like, oh, I have shame because in my 15-year career, I've totally fallen for it, right? I've been the one who was like seduced by the whatever. And so I'm like beating myself up for my own lack of information and wisdom over 14 years of thing. But it was really like I had to do what you're talking about and be like, this guy is triggering me a lot. So rather than just be like, okay, I'm going to block him, I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's kind of like, ew, I don't like that, right? Yeah. But then I was like, oh, I have this shame about it. Like I need to heal it. So there's so much freedom. So then how does this all, Junie, turn into like sabotage? So how do we end up sabotaging ourselves because of this shadow?
Well, first, I just want to just totally acknowledge you for being so transparent and sharing like your own stuff. I mean, you and I both do that. We're like, okay, we're not perfect. We're, it's a journey. And for everybody that's listening, there are layers. These are deep-seated beliefs that we've had for so long. And so the fact that you noticed it, and I think that's the first step. It's like, oh, wait a second. Instead of my quick reaction of let's just block him, what's going on here? And being curious about what that is. Because when we shine the flashlight on the darkness, on the shame, shame grows in the dark. That's what bites us in the night, in the middle of the night. So it's like, whoa, what's going on here? So for anybody that's going, why don't I have this down yet? Here, you and I, we've done a shit ton of work, and it's like, okay, there's another level, another layer, another awareness. So, kudos to your share.
Thanks. Because here's the thing, you learn, and this is what I think, especially as you get older, I know you do a lot of work in midlife, right? Like, if we just keep blocking the people from our lives, if we just keep saying like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to get rid of this person that bugs me, or I'm just not going to be friends with her anymore.
So yeah, that's the thing. It's, we can just say, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to talk to people. I'm just going to cut these things out of my life. And then our life gets very, very small. And just doing that, talk about sabotage. If we're truly wanting connection, if we're truly wanting to have a happy, extraordinary life, especially in our partnerships, we need to look at what's driving us. What is under the covers that has us saying, I don't like this person. I'm in reaction to this person. It doesn't mean you have to accept those people into your life. However, but here's the thing. When we start to do this work, when we start to shine the light on our own shadows and our own conditioning, and we do the healing work and like my book, Loving the Whole Package, when we can love all of who we are consciously, shadow and light, and have compassion for ourselves, we then are showing up so differently with everybody else. We have a new lens. We have new glasses that we're seeing people. And so instead of shutting them out, hopefully there's a moment of, oh, I'm seeing the show that they're putting on. I'm seeing their personality. That's interesting. I don't have to go for the ride there. However, I don't have to go into such deep reaction. We stop reacting in those extreme ways. And a quick story. I was just in Mexico. I just came back a couple of days ago. I was at a Dr. Joe Dispenza workshop. And it was like, oh my God, crazy. And here, it's Mexico. And I can't tell you how many gorgeous friggin' bodies I saw on the beach. Like, these beautiful, beautiful women. I wasn't looking at the guys. I'm looking at the women, and I'm doing the compare and despair thing. I mean, I've been on my healing journey with body image and body shame for years, and I've come a long way, and yet I'm noticing. And I kept bringing it back to, I really love myself, and I've come so far, and I'm gentle with myself instead of, oh my God, you're so fat, you're so ugly, you shouldn't even be in a bathing suit, which was my past. And so I noticed the judgments. I noticed a little bit of, I should have been working out more. I could have been on that beach in a bikini too, and then I'm like, whoa, wait a second. That's like, let's just take a breath into that. And I was able to have that deep compassion for myself and see the beautiful women without huge judgment. If I didn't do the work that I had done by shining a light on those beliefs, as many women have, of if I don't look a certain way, then I'm not beautiful, I wouldn't have been able to relax and enjoy my time. And I would have been hiding, and I would have been sabotaging myself by starving myself. I wouldn't have enjoyed the food because there would have been a part of me like, punishing and restricting. And so in relationships, because that's kind of our jam, people that are really wanting to have a different type of relationship and to have that deep intimacy, we need to do the intimacy with ourselves first. We need to clean out our judgments of ourselves and judgments of others, and really come home to that fullness and richness of who we are, with gentleness, with compassion, with love. Because when we can put down the judger, when we can put down that voice inside of us that beats the heck out of us, and we can come more to that gentleness and soulmate, that inner soulmate that we can connect to, what do you think is going to happen when you start talking to people or going on that date? You're going to be coming into it much more rich and shiny because you're not afraid of being seen, because you are who you are and there's no apology there. You're more aligned with your truth. I mean, that's kind of how I see it.
So let's talk about judging and online dating. Sure. Right? And if you're in a relationship, this is like judging your partner, right? Like if you've been with that person for a while. Because the typical way is, you know, someone jumps on and they go and they're like, ugh. Right? Like, he's too old. He's not attractive. He's this, he's that. And then, you know, taking and then giving up. So let's talk about, so then how do you manage your shadow when you're actually in the reality of the journey of partner selection? Let's just call it that.
Well, firstly, I kind of tell people it's the cart before the horse if they go online and they haven't taken some time to unpack. And it doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean I can't go online until I know everything about me and I'm totally healed, because you will never be online. And I just see people struggling so much online and hating it, and it's so exhausting, and all these people, and it's a yes and. Yes, it's its own animal, and there are challenges, and who you are being is going to affect how you are with the whole process. Again, with the judging, it's like, if there's that classic, if you're pointing out, there are three fingers pointing at you.
Yeah.
So again, I look at, I say dating research is wonderful information about what you need to look at within yourself. Exactly. And so, you know, if you're going, oh my God, everybody's so old and there's nobody here for me, that's a belief. And I think once it's all beliefs, right? It's all beliefs, and all these beliefs are affecting us. And so when we do the shadow work, when we are unpacking and coming home to the truth of who we are, not by what our beliefs are, not by what we've been taught, we can see things differently. And then what's really, really cool when I work with my clients is their profiles are very, very different than they were before, because they're being bold and not afraid of going, this is who I am, and I'm going to shine my light and say, yes, I love this about me, and this is what I'm interested in. And hopefully the people that are not interested are not going to be knocking on your door, and the people that see your profile are like, this is somebody that I resonate with. And until we can really come home to the truth of who we are, I'm like, you know, repeating myself here, but this is what I believe to be true. When we can clean off our souls, so to speak, and come really back to our hearts and know how worthy we are of love, and know how great we are. And I'm not talking about, oh, I'm just so great, like above everybody else. This is like grounded, authentic, I love myself and who I am. Then energetically, you're going to do something different. You're going to be different online, and your profile is going to reflect it. Your first phone call is going to reflect it, because you're not coming from this place of deep fear and judgment. Because frankly, if you're coming from that deep fear of whatever it is underneath the surface, like I'm afraid he's going to be like my last person, I don't want to give away my wonderful life and sacrifice, and I don't want to be in an abusive relationship, I better be careful. That energy is going to affect your profile and everything after that. So we need to come home. We need to know how valuable we are and how special we are, and be in alignment with who we are, so that when we do go out online, it's different. And it is so different. I see it all the time with my clients. Crazy different.
I just want to really highlight, like, the bottom line of this is that, like, rather than be out there talking about how much it sucks and how hard it is and how everyone sucks and blah, 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 because you can always consensus build your negative opinion. I mean, that's like the easiest thing to do in the world, especially now. But it's like, well, wait a minute. If you said at the beginning of the year, you know, you were going to date, you were going to find your partner, and you're having the same experience you had last year, like, maybe you are the common denominator, right? Like, maybe there is something to the gig, right? Because I always say to people, like, you have a choice. You can get with it and do the work, right? Or you can just own, like, you know what? I don't want to do the work. I think everyone sucks. Dating sucks. So then, therefore, I 100% choose to be single, but I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to long for it. I've made that choice. And I always want to point that out to people, because you and I, our lives don't change if you date or not. So either do something about it or just be single
and accept it and enjoy your life and embrace it. Enjoy your life. It's that negative focused energy. How does that feel? It doesn't feel good. So if you're not going to change, if you're not going to do something different, you're going to have the same results. We know that to be true. And you are a choice point. And the reality is if you don't do anything differently, you are most likely going to have a very similar experience in your next relationship because you're bringing yourself and that U-Haul of all your beliefs with you, and you're going to be in a relationship. I always say, I can get you in a relationship. I can get you a relationship next week if you want. But do you want just a relationship or do you want actually to be happy? Do you really want to have somebody that you can connect with and open with and enjoy with? Or do you just want to have somebody in your life so that you could have that experience again? And, and that's also, and I do want to add one more thing, which is,
please.
My belief is there's the stuff that we do, and then there's also the surrendering to the journey.
Right.
We don't know. We don't know what's at play here beyond our 3D reality, so to speak. And if you believe in we're here for a reason and things unfold in its right time, there's something to be said about doing the work, showing up for your life, enjoying your life, and then doing like the roller coaster ride with your hands up and go, okay, I'm on the ride. It's going to unfold the way it's going to be. And if my soulmate is coming next week, next month, or 5-10 years from now, do you really want to wait to be happy? Just enjoy the ride and lean into trusting that there's something else going on here so we can work on it and do what we can with our own tools. And then there's something to be said about just allowing it to be what it is and enjoy each breath that you have on this planet.
I love that. So last thing is, so are our love shadows different from any other shadows, or are they like specific?
So yes, and.
Okay, great.
So shadow is shadow, period. There are different aspects of our personality. Sometimes we don't feel good enough, and there might be, okay, shadow is shadow. I'm gonna repeat myself here. Shadow is shadow, bottom line. However, in my body of work, what I've done is I pulled out 4 different energies of shadow that relate to different archetypes. And each one has a different flavor. So I see one that can be the shadow of you're bad. There's something wrong with you. And if you have that kind of energetic in that realm, you're going to be on your toes, overthinking, over-controlling. And so there's an energetic of that love shadow. I call that the magician shadow.
Right.
Just looking at everything and just in our heads so much calculating everything. And that's really challenging because we're just figuring everything out and we're not relaxed. And it's just that over-controlling brain, monkey brain. And then there's the sovereign shadow where somewhere along the way we might have gotten a message we're not good enough or not worthy. And so if we're not feeling worthy enough and valuable, then we're going to show up very differently in relationships as well. Maybe that's where we become the people pleaser, or we sacrifice our own needs and become codependent. And then there's the love shadow, the lover shadow, And in the lover realm is when we got a message that we don't love right, or we're not safe to love. And that's when we close off our heart and we're not able to open and connect. And then the warrior shadow is the part where it's somewhere energetically we got a message that we don't exist, or we're not separate from other people, where we got enmeshed and our boundaries got wonky. And so if we have very, very wonky boundaries, that's when we can be stepped all over and not really get our needs met, not be able to voice our truth, our opinions. And that certainly will affect how we show up in relationships as well. So yes, and
I love that. Well, I think that's a really good. Everything that you're saying is to take what it is you may already know, or maybe you don't know it at all, and to say, what is it? Like, my results are still giving me X, Y, Z. So what is it that I want to be able to learn from that rather than resist it, and face the shadow and identify who we are in this realm and seek to be more whole. If you want the whole package, you have to be the whole package.
Yes. And there was something you said, and I really think it's important to voice this, that just understanding the shadow, just seeing the patterns, just acknowledging that there's something that needs to change is not enough. That's like the neck up. To do the shadow work and that's where my work I see is very different than a lot of other shadow work. There's a lot of people that are just looking and going, oh, I have this in shadow. I need to do something differently. And there's very specific processes to get beyond the conscious mind of, oh, I see this, because 95% of our brain is unconscious. That's where the conditioning is. And so for us to really shift and change and transform, I mean, I had this client, she kept having the same sabotaging pattern over and over and over. She was in her early 50s and she just kept sabotaging the relationships, and she wasn't ever in a long-term relationship because she kept attracting the same guy and hoping for different results. And she came to me kind of ready to throw in the towel. And within a couple of sessions, she acknowledged, yes, I saw this with my parents. I understand this aspect about their relationship and how I view love. And then she dropped into the truth of her belief, which is love hurts. Love hurts.
Wow.
And
Yep.
that's what she was leading from. So protection mode, survival mode, love hurts, so I don't want to be in a relationship. That was in the unconscious mind. She knew about her parents consciously, but inside of her, she's like, there was a part of her, we call it the risk manager. The risk manager was like, yeah, we're just going to keep attracting guys that aren't going to stay because it's not going to go well. But that was in the unconscious mind. And then we did a full body experience where she rewired. And I swear to you, this is a true story. 2 weeks later, after she had this huge shift, she was at a party. She met this guy that she had known for years, in this group of friends. She had never seen him as relationship material. And suddenly she's seeing with new eyes. And not only did I'm getting goosebumps. I've shared this story so many times, but she not only saw him differently, he saw her differently.
Right.
Started dating. It's been at least, 2-3 years now. They are married for a couple of years now. They are so happy. And she never would have given him a chance because it would have lasted. And that part of her was like, but as soon as she healed that, as soon as she saw through it and she was able to trust that she could have something different than her parents, and she wasn't at the mercy of that experience that her parents had, that she could have something different. Everything changed.
I love that. Right. And that's just the thing is, what if it's just one thing? You're one thing away, one breakthrough away. Junie, thank you so much for being here. This has been so amazing. Ladies, you can go in our show notes and you can go to Junie's website, which is midlifeloveoutloud.com. And also we have a link to her book, which you should probably find out about, which is Loving the Whole Package. And then finally, she's got a quiz. What's your love avatars? So all of those are on the show notes because you want to stay connected to Junnie Moon, the love coach with the coolest name ever. You can always find me on Instagram at Marni Battista _. I love this conversation. So many ways to life check yourself. And remember, take responsibility for living the life of your dreams on your terms. And the only way through that is to go in. So life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to dwdvip.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.